Hey, this is John Hope Bryant, and this is Money and Wealth on the Black Effect Network, iHeart podcast series for 2025. As you know, I normally don't have guests. I'm having a conversation directly with you about the things that I believe matter most. Every now and then, I bring in somebody who I believe is not only a value add, but a game changer. That's the case today. My brother from another mother, a bad boy. He doesn't walk on water, but he knows where the stones are. I'm introducing everybody. Well, you already know who he is. It's Will Packer. Will, honored to have you with us, but to say having you with us is to really talk about your mom and your dad, Mr. and Mrs. Packer, from St. Petersburg, Florida, who raised you your whole life as mom and dad, not baby daddy, not baby mama, mom and dad, who took no prisoners, who were excellent, who don't probably get, like most of our mom and dads, the credit that they deserve. But I think that you would want to underscore, as we're talking about where you are now and how you're moving forward in this great book that you have coming out very soon here, that I encourage everybody to go pick up, The Art of Healthy Arrogance and Dreaming Big. And that's a big title, and we're going to get into why and what and who. But my guess is, in many ways, you are breathing life in everything you do as a direct reflection of growing up in St. Petersburg with your mom and your dad. So I want to get into that in a second. For the audience who loves credentials, I got some. This is Money and Wealth. Let's talk about the money first. His combined filmmaking collection that he's produced himself, responsible for over $1 billion in receivables worldwide. That's U.S. currency. That's not pesos. Will Packer is a graduate, magna cum laude, not thank you, Lottie, magna cum laude, Florida A&M University in 1996. Bachelor's of Science degree, get this now, in electrical engineering. So following his dad's footsteps, which we'll get into in a moment. He had a vision that he fulfilled, and that vision you see in films and television shows. You've got Chocolate City in 1994 that he did through Rainforest Films. You've got Will Packer Productions, which did films that you remember, like Think Like a Man, Ride Along, Girls Trip. These are iconic films that you may not have known the guy behind them. He has produced the Academy Awards. That was the 94th annual in 2022. He has most recently become one of 4 limited partners in an NFL team, the Atlanta Falcons. He is deeply involved in his community. He is a philanthropist, let's just call it that way, at the HBCUs, most notably his home university where he graduated from. He's always showing up, showing out, and giving back. You've had, if I recall, Will, you've had a 10-year run of a TV series as well.
Ready to Love.
That's it.
The longest running African American dating show on television. Ready to Love on Oprah's network. That's correct. Yeah.
Right. I was just talking to Oprah the other day, who's an icon in our world.
Yes.
And so your credentials, your bona fides, and this is just a small collection of what you have done. I just did the high watermark. But a lot of this goes back to mom and dad. Is that right?
No question. Listen, first of all, thank you so much for having me. The fact that you allow me to come on, you're using your platform. You always use your platform for good and strengthening our community with knowledge, especially when it comes to the financial literacy piece. Part of what you always push, John, is the positive cycle and the positivity of how the cyclical effect of knowledge and equity can benefit a community, not just an individual, but a community. You're very big on community. Well, it's important that you started where you did because you're absolutely right. It is by no mistake that I sit here. I'm very proud to, be successful by any metric, certainly the financial ones. But for me, I measure success on, on health and well-being, mental health, and what I give back to the community. I'm successful in those ways
Yep.
because I had an incredible foundation.
Yep.
I did have two parents. Glad you pointed that out. Not a lot of people do, but I had a two-parent household, right? Had a dad and a mom, loved each other, worked together. I was born into a world where I knew I had a dual foundation of support from mom, from dad, balancing each other out and telling me. I always like to say when I came into the world, my parents lifted me into the air like Simba in the Lion King. And they said, you see that? They took me to the highest point they could find. Say everything the sun touches is yours. We have to start doing that to our children. We have to start doing that to that next generation. Everything that you see is possible. And I had the audacity to believe my parents when they told me that. When they told me you can go out and you can do anything. That's the only way a little black kid from St. Pete, Florida,
Yep.
about as far as you can get from Hollywood on a map.
Yep.
I didn't know where Hollywood was. I didn't know anything about the entertainment business. But that little kid was told you can do and be anything you want if you set your mind to it and you're willing to work. And I believed them. I believed them.
And when I think about you, I actually find the title of your book interesting because I think people in our community confuse arrogance with confidence. We're so used to not seeing real confidence that we can confuse it with arrogance. And so I want you to unpack the title because I know you did it intentionally, you did it provocatively. But one thing I like about you, one of the many things is, and we never talked about this, but I absolutely believe that it is our shared philosophy. There's a lot of love in the word no. You rather people respect you and learn to like you than like you and never respect you. An entrepreneur works 18 hours a day to keep from getting a job. So you're committed to the work. And so no one's going to deny you on excellence. Success is going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. You've doubled down, you've tripled down, you've achieved it. So there's no reason to not believe it. That is not 1 ounce of your self-esteem, to quote Quincy Jones, that depends on someone else's acceptance of you. Mm-hmm. So you're reasonably comfortable in your own skin, which is, to me, goes back to your parents saying you are somebody, you can do anything you want to do, and again, lifting you up. So again, we all start from someplace, and I want to really underscore for this audience that part of wealth is culture and perspective, and we model what we see. And your kids, and when you bring a child in this world, you want to be more than a sperm donor, right? You want to be a positive influence in their life. And when you succeed, you need to understand whether you're succeeding or you're failing. Is an old Southern quote: no matter how much I love you, my son or my daughter, if I don't have wisdom, all I can give you is my own ignorance. And that, watch how you live your life. It may be the only Bible anybody else reads. So all of those quotes that I just used, to me, embody your spirit. So when you write a book called The Art of Healthy Arrogance and Dreaming Big, I know every word was intentional. Some of it meant to trigger a little bit. So the book comes out, by the way, February 18th. I want everybody to go buy it. I want you to send Will a note on social media saying that you purchased it. I want you to leave a review once you read it or listened to it online where you bought it. We've got to, as people of color, I want everybody to buy the book, but certainly people of color, We've got to make smart sexy again. We've been dumb
Come on.
way too long. We've dumbed
That's right.
down, celebrated it. It's time to make smart sexy again. The biggest group of buyers of books in this country are Black women. I want you to buy this book. I want you to leave a review. Don't boycott somebody. I want you to clear the shelves. I want you to buy everything that they got that's from a Black man or a Black woman to show that we have power.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
In our midst.
And
Start with
that
this book.
yeah. Well, it's interesting you talk about that power. The working in Hollywood, right? And one of the reasons I even wrote the book is because I've had a 3-decade career in Hollywood. And over those 30 years, I've been able to work with some of the most, famous people, some of the most well-known, powerful, some of the richest folks, also some of the most toxic people, some of the people that are the most insecure, some of the people that have got a lot of negativity that swirls around them all the time. Having to deal with people in that environment, I learned a set of skills that I believe is transferable to any industry. The other thing I learned is that what you just said about the power belonging to the consumer. Yeah. Hollywood, like any consumer-facing industry, operates under an economic imperative. People get it confused sometimes. They think, oh, well, Hollywood is trying to promote a particular agenda. They only want to see this type of person win or that type of person. Hollywood is a business. Hollywood is driven by its consumers, not the other way around. That's right. Hollywood is reactive, not proactive. And so the power always is in the consumer. I tell people all the time, if there's content out there that's being made and you don't like it, or you want to see more of a different type of content, go find that content and spread the word. Proselytize like you would something that is very important to you in another area. Let people know, because when you do that, folks like myself and also the people that are financing projects in Hollywood, they have to pay attention. They have to. Right. So you're absolutely right about that. I titled the book. So the title of the book is Who Better Than You? And then the subtitle is The Art of Healthy Arrogance and Dreaming Big. And the title, Who Better Than You, clearly states the question that each of us need to ask ourselves, not once a year, not once a month, not once a week, every day. Ask yourself, look yourself right in the mirror and affirm that there is no one better than you to achieve. And I don't mean achieve like mediocre dreams, right? I don't mean achieve things that are kind of good. I mean great. I mean huge, outsized success. John, at the end of the day, the folks in this world that you and I know that have been extremely successful are people that believe not only that they could do it, but that they were going to do it and that they were meant to do it. And when you walk into a room, and I've been right there with you, you and I've been in some powerful rooms, brother. Yep. In those rooms,
always following you.
Yeah, don't believe that. In those rooms, sometimes I'm like, what am I doing here? And then I see you. I say, well, let me go talk to my friend John, because he's the only one I know here. And everybody else knows him. You know what I mean? What I would say is that you walk into those rooms, and we've all been in those positions, and you're around people, and you may have a little bit of trepidation. What am I doing here? Do I belong?
Yes.
Once you have that confidence, you walk into the room, and that confidence manifests itself in ways that you don't even realize. You don't walk in and say, what am I doing here? You walk in and say, what can I add to this room?
That's right.
This room is better because I'm in it.
That's right.
And I'm out to show people.
That's right.
See, when I say healthy arrogance, make no mistake.
Healthy arrogance.
That is very important.
It's very important.
Because we associate arrogance, and most times it is toxic arrogance. Right. Arrogance and toxic arrogance is about tearing people down. It is about, I'm better than you, right? I'm going to beat you. Right. Look at me, everybody. Look at me and don't look at them, right? That is what typical arrogance is. And I know I work in Hollywood.
I'm tired of talking about me. Now you talk about me.
Exactly. Right? Enough about you, more about me. I work in an industry of that created unsubstantiated hubris, right? I'm not talking about that. Yeah. Healthy arrogance is that supreme confidence in yourself that
That's
helps you to understand what true leaders understand, which is that I'm successful when I can get you and the other persons around us to realize that our success is tied together, right? So it's not about tearing anybody else down. It is about lifting yourself and everybody else around you up. True leaders are able to get people to row in the same direction.
that's right.
It is not until you get the folks that are either on your team and your network and your family and your relationships to understand that your success benefits them
Yeah.
and vice versa. That's what true leaders do. And that's when you get people saying, oh, you know what? I need John Hope Franklin to win because John Hope Franklin to win because I'm working with him
Mm-hmm.
because his success is my success,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because he is the person that is helping to unlock success for all of us.
Yes.
And so too many times we get in these silos, and that's where that arrogance comes in, tearing everybody else down. I if you win and I'm losing. No, you can't think like that. It's about first that internal self-confidence, and
Mm-hmm.
that self-confidence is a muscle that you can build over time. You
Mm-hmm.
can build up, right? I know there are people that may be watching that aren't, weren't born with the outsized confidence that maybe John or myself have. That's okay. You can build it up. And you do it by doing small things and by succeeding at small things
That's right.
and by looking yourself in that mirror every day and giving yourself the credit for it. And then
That's
you
right.
go on to something bigger and then something bigger. And before you know it, you got some momentum going. So that's where my concept of healthy arrogance came from.
And I want people to slow down and rewind this and listen slowly to what he said. Take it to half speed and listen to what he said. How he unpacked that is very important. His differentiation. How did I describe him? I said he's reasonably comfortable in his own skin. No one's comfortable in their own skin. That's a lie. He acknowledged when he comes into the room. When I go into a room, I'm acknowledging. Sometimes there's a little bit of a wondering whether you're worthy of being in that room. A
Everybody does it.
little bit of
Yes.
insecurity. That's
Sure.
okay.
Natural.
It goes away. It's natural. It keeps you from being obnoxious, right? It is a humility. But rainbows after storms. Then you buck up and you say, yeah, I'm God's child. I am somebody. I'm different from everybody here. And I add value. And all of a sudden, that warmth, that authenticity attracts people to you. And you look up and Will's got 10 people around him, pulling seats around him as we were at the last, I saw him at a Magic Johnson reception in Atlanta. You look up and there's a half dozen people centering around him, trying to pull off of his energy because he's the strongest energy in that room. That healthy, I'm going to call it for the moment, confidence that comes from self-esteem. If I don't like me, I'm not going to like you. If I don't feel good about me, I'm not going to feel good about you.
That is right.
Don't expect me to respect you. If I don't love me, I don't have a clue how to love you.
Don't
And
have
if
a
I don't
clue.
purpose in my life, I'll make your life a living hell. And hurt
That's
people,
right.
hurt people. So
Period.
he is trying to get you to adopt yourself.
How about that? How about that? And just to go a little bit further with that, when you realize that the most important voice that you're going to hear all day is yours, and you start off with that voice telling you you're qualified,
That's right.
you're prepared, you have the skills,
Yes.
you are ready
Yes.
for whatever may come today. That's the most important voice.
Yes.
You probably aren't going to hear it anymore the rest of that day. But when you hear it from the most important voice first, you are better prepared. You are undergirded to go out and face the challenges of the day. Too often we give our power away to people because they may have a fancy title, they may have access to resources. Nothing wrong with interfacing with folks that are in positions of power at all. Nothing wrong with taking in what they say in their perspectives. You said there's a little love in every no, right?
Yeah.
What I see people doing, especially in my industry, John, is they're giving their power to people who aren't them. I sent my script to Will Packer. And Will Packer said no. He said he's not going to produce it. I sent it to Sony and they said no. I sent it to Paramount and they said no. Or I auditioned for a Will Packer movie and I didn't get the role. That's just that person's perspective, opinion, and decision being made based on their unique set of experiences.
It's not a value on you.
You got to remember that.
Yeah.
Even though this person is all those fancy things that John said about me at the beginning of this, all that's true. That still doesn't mean that I have the right to assign value to you, your life, or your dream.
Yep.
I may say, I'm not going to hire you as an actress. Or you may have somebody saying they're not going to invest in your new business venture. You may have a new boss that you apply for a job. I'm not going to hire you. That's okay. That's that person's opinion. But don't give your power to say that your dream is not over until you say it's over. Don't give that to anybody. I don't care what their title is.
That's right.
I don't care what access to resources they have, how rich they are. I don't care.
That's right.
That is your power. That's why you're the most important person. You got to affirm that daily. You really, really do. Because that's the thing that you get used to hearing. And then you start to expect yourself to perform that way. Just like it works in the opposite direction. If you have that drumbeat of negativity, always telling you, I'm not ready, I'm not worthy, I don't have it, I'm not prepared. If you're constantly telling yourself that drumbeat gets louder and louder. It works the other way. It's the positive cycle, just like we talked about before. Just like John, you talk about all the time. That's that positive cycle, that cycle of positivity that you can create within yourself. We're talking about you have an internal conversation. You don't need anybody else to help you with this. You don't need any money. You don't need any mentor. This is something that you can do. Start with yourself. John just said, adopt yourself. I love that mantra. I love that, right? Because it requires you to love yourself. It requires you to nurture yourself. It requires you to take care of yourself and give yourself what you need. That's where you got to start. And not enough of us do that. That's where that question, who better than you, comes from.
I don't think this applies to you now, but 20 years ago, I would say one of your greatest assets was there's a lot of, you take no for vitamins. I know that was also one of my greatest assets. You ignored the noise and you didn't let a no define you. Take no for vitamins. And it's a little bit of what you're telling people coming at you now and others who are getting rejected, not rejecting you. We're just saying this doesn't work for what I'm doing right now. It has no identity. I'm not identifying you at all. I'm not even thinking about you. I'm thinking about my project. So you early on had to, as you were building this up, you had to take no for vitamins and believe in yourself and stay focused on the rare yes you got, not the no's you didn't get. The glass was half full, not half empty. What I see you now is, and we share this trait, and never said this to you publicly, but we're both ruthless about our time. We'll give away the money.
Have to be.
Don't mess with our time. I've seen you say no to things. Hey, Will, I'm sorry, brother, I can't do that. Hey, Will, I got to be in Central Pay. Can't do that.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't work right now. Good luck with that. You're focused. You're absolutely laser focused on the thing you want to achieve. Yeah. No shade to anybody else, but you can't be successful in life unless you're focused on what you're trying to achieve. So what are some, why don't you drop some, I'm going to get into some tactical stuff from the book, but why don't you drop a few pearls of wisdom that people can expect from this book that are tied to maybe they won't get it from this book, your life philosophy. What are a half dozen rules, 2, 3, 4, 6, that Will Packer lives by, that was between your parents raising you and you becoming massively successful? That piece in the middle is what people are missing. Yep. And what we're going to try to give them today in this podcast is hope with the business plan. So before we get into the tactical questions about that are lessons from the book and lessons for life, people listening, what are those values that differentiate you, that have made you thrive and not just survive?
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. So one of the things that I talk about is a big belief of mine that sometimes you have to go out and climb the mountain. What do I mean by that? Many of us have what I call preparation paralysis.
Oh, I want to hear this.
I am so fortunate, John, to have been naive when I started off trying to become a filmmaker. The power of what I didn't know helped propel me, because If I knew then what I knew now, what I know now, I wouldn't have done it because I'm analytical, I'm intelligent, and I would have said this is an unlikely. The aperture for success is too small. I need to find something else to do.
And right? I want to understand the audience. Please listen to me. His degree is in engineering.
Electrical engineering. That's right.
Extremely specific.
That's
extremely tactile. They are very detailed, and with all due respect, they're rigid. So an electrical engineer is scientific, and they need to know the mapping before they start to work. So what he's saying here is a game changer for you. He did not over analyze, otherwise he never would have even got off the mark. Continue.
You got it. And that engineering discipline is antithetical to the creative field in which I work. So when I talk about preparation paralysis, so many of us say, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to initiate this pivot. I'm going to start to embark on this challenge. I'm going to climb this mountain, whatever your mountain is. And they say, I got to be prepared though, because I'm climbing a mountain. The mountain is big. And you spend all your time and all your energy preparing to climb the mountain, and you never climb the mountain. We all know somebody like that. It's natural. Sometimes you just got to climb the mountain. See, what happens is we go out, and it is that fear of the unknown and that fear of failure that allows us to settle into a comfort level. How many of us know folks that are like, I'm about to? They're always about to. I'm about to, right? Next year's the year. I'm gonna start the business. Next year's the year. I'm gonna get the master's degree. Next year's the year, right? About to. Because they feel like I'm not ready yet. I'm just not ready. That's preparation paralysis. What you have to do is realize that you can go out and you can have the right shoes to climb that mountain. You can have the rappelling gear. You got the rope. You got your backpack. You got your canteen, filled with your water and your hiking hat, all that. But until you actually get up on the side of that mountain and you plan to go right and you reach your hand up and a rock slips and now you got to go left. You get up there, you feel the sting of the cold air on your face, right? Until you're actually there climbing the mountain, you don't know what to expect. You don't know what it's going to be like because you never climbed a mountain before. So sometimes you actually got to get out there and just start climbing the mountain. In order to do that, climbing the mountain is just like swallowing a whale, one bite at a time. The first thing you have to do, and this is the second thing, so don't allow yourself to have preparation paralysis. Get out there and climb the mountain.
Don't
let the
perfect become the death of the good.
That's right. The second thing that I subscribe to is the belief that when you are getting ready to do something big, right? I don't care what it is. Sometimes you have to fabricate momentum. Okay? Follow me.
Okay.
So many times folks get stuck on that first rung. John, when I was making my very first movie after college, I said, we're going to raise $750,000. Not a lot of money for a movie, especially back then. 750 would give us what we needed to go out and get the cameras and lights and go and shoot this movie. John, for the life of me, I couldn't get anywhere close to raising that money. I wasn't rich. I didn't know anybody rich, didn't know anybody in Hollywood. I was out banging my head on doors trying to raise $750,000.
Right.
So I said, okay, instead of a financial goal, I'm going to set a date goal. And I'm going to say whatever I'm able to raise at the end of 3 months, give myself 3 months. Whatever I raise at the end of those 3 months, that's going to be the budget of the film. Guess how much I raised at the end of those 3 months? 75. I did not. It wasn't $750, but it sure wasn't $750,000. I raised $75,000. That's what we were able to raise.
Okay.
And guess what? We shot a tiny movie for $75,000. That was the budget of the movie.
Okay.
Very small, but we did it. We completed that movie. And it said to other people that I could do it. But you know what it did? Most importantly, it said to me
that you could do it.
That I could do it.
Yeah.
that I could do it. So many times people are going, okay, step one, complete the task. No, if the task is monumental, that's not step one. Going back to climbing a mountain analogy, step one is buying the shoes. Just buy the shoes, right?
That's right.
Step two, just get the rope.
Right.
Step three, don't climb the mountain, drive by the mountain. Go
Right.
look at the mountain. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right? Do those because before you know it, you've accomplished 5 things towards your goal. Now you're telling yourself, I can do it. I can do things towards my goal. Sometimes you got to fabricate that momentum for yourself because
Yeah.
it's hard. Don't allow yourself to get stuck on that first rung.
Yes.
Get going.
Just do it.
Something.
Yeah.
Just do it. Give yourself an opportunity to get some momentum. That has worked well for me.
And those two values work together because I there's a famous person that I got in the back of my mind. I won't mention their name because the audience would then make a judgment. But and I try not to judge people. People are where they are. But this famous person, who is the child of a famous person, always wants to do things perfect. And I've tried to tell them, let all that paralysis of analysis go. Stop navel gazing. Like, let the perfect become the death of the good. Just get out there and do it. By the time you figure out what the perfect is, the opportunity is gone and the situation's completely changed.
Right.
Like, you know, not only are you not perfect, I tell them, the other people out here aren't perfect. The people you're looking at, who you're chasing, aren't perfect. These folks are mediocre at best. And if you and the devil's lazy. So if you got hustle, if you got God behind you, you got half of the battle. Half of it is just showing up with good habits.
And remember, that is the one thing you can control. One of the other things that one of the other tenets is what you just said. If you got hustle, you said the devil is lazy, right? That is the one thing that you can control. There's so many things that you can't control in your world. You can't control what other people are going to do, how they're going to receive you, how they're going to perceive you. But you can control how hard you are working, right? So you've got to put the energy into the things you can control. So many times we each have a finite amount of energy. You can't forget that, okay? None of us have limitless energy. You got a finite amount of energy. It's up to you where you decide to expend that energy. Yeah. Oftentimes we're expending the energy on things we can't control because I am worrying, I am filling myself with anxiety about things that I cannot control that people are doing around me. You know what you can't control? The work. Put your head down and grind. And especially in today's world, we're so consumed with letting everybody know what we're doing every step of the way. One of my mantras is, it's the work you put in when nobody is watching that makes everybody pay attention later. Yeah. The work you put in when nobody's watching makes everybody pay attention later. Yeah. And so you got to put your head down and grind and don't worry about what everybody else is doing because you can't control it. You know what you can't control? Your work ethic. You can control how much energy and effort you're putting into whatever that goal is that you're trying to accomplish. Doesn't mean you're going to accomplish it right away. But you still got to make sure that energy that you got, that finite amount of energy, you're putting it towards something that you can control.
Brilliant. And I think you're making, is an old Southern saying, put it where the goats can get it. You're saying a way that allow people to approach success. You're putting it within reach, which is what I like to do with all of my work. Don't use 20 words when 2 will do. People already feel bad. They already feel depressed and distressed and worn out. They don't need us to help them by making something unattainable. So you've made success attainable. Now, this show is Money and Wealth. Before I pivot to some practical questions in the book, I want to give some folks here a bit of a cheat sheet. I've talked about some real estate deals I've done, some that did well, some that were a bust. I talked about business deals. I talked about building brands. At some point, I'm going to walk through how to build a global nonprofit and all this stuff. I try to show people how they can build wealth and not just give them a bunch of happy talk. Is there an example you can give, Will, in your personal life, good news or bad, some cheat sheets you can have that you can give folks about some insight into the music and the entertainment business, which actually is music also, by the way, because you've got soundtracks and things like that come out of the movies and the TV shows. But Like, is publishing the golden goose, or what is it being? Is it not being? Everybody wants to be on stage. Everybody
Yeah.
wants to be a star. They want
Right.
to rock the mic. I keep telling them, own the damn mic, right? Rip the
Yeah.
mic, right?
Yeah.
What is the aha that
Mhm.
Will Packer can present to this audience that is not told or understood about how to make money and or build wealth in Hollywood?
Okay. So it is understood, but it is misconstrued. It is about your personal brand. Okay. We live in an environment where there's an oversaturation of content. All right. There's more content out there than ever before. There's more platforms. Everybody has now, got this device where you can go and you can create your own content, right? Everybody's a star. Everybody's got a social media platform. Hollywood, the music industry, media companies at large are all trying to find brands that have an authentic connection to audiences because they don't. They need you. You are the conduit to get to those audiences. Here's where people mess up and misstep. You think that you need the support of a major media brand in order to reach those consumers. And you really don't, especially now, right? Now, because everybody's got a YouTube channel and everybody's got Instagram, everybody's got TikTok, you got to have scale. You have to be able to build a brand that has not just hundreds, not just thousands, you got to have millions of folks that are subscribing to whatever it is that you are pitching, selling, and presenting, right? So, what I say to people is, you make money without Hollywood, that's when Hollywood will come knocking. You make money without the music industry, that's when the music industry will come knocking. So what you should focus on is, what is the thing that you have that connects authentically with audiences, right? Don't worry, don't spend that time trying to knock on a Hollywood door. I literally could not get a return call from Hollywood until I had independently distributed my own film on my own. I drove from city to city to city, right? I remember I went from Atlanta to Jackson, Mississippi, to Birmingham, Alabama, to Charlotte, North Carolina, to Greensboro, North Carolina, to Memphis, Tennessee, to Nashville, Tennessee. I can keep going. I remember because I drove to every one of them. I stayed in a little Motel 6 or Super 8, whatever I could afford in every market. That was my version, absolute hustle. That was my version of building my brand at that time with my early movie project. You may not have to do that right now because you can hit send, you can hit post, but everybody can hit send, everybody can post. So you got to do something that stands out. Focus your time and energy on building that personal brand. That is where you can derive wealth from within the media landscape. Everybody's trying to knock on the door of the major media companies and say, yeah, but I need a bigger platform. I need to be in theaters. I need to be on streaming. No, what you need is a brand that is valuable enough so that the folks that have those platforms say, come on over here. Let me use your platform and your connection to an audience to help enrich my platform that I've invested all this money in over here. And I need you in order to help sustain my platform. So spend that energy honing whatever that is, that voice. And I'm not telling everybody to go out and be an influencer, because that's these days, that's like, being in the NBA. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that. But there are going to be folks that need to manage those influencers. There are going to be folks that need to help facilitate what they're doing with their money, right? Because these folks are very focused on being in front of the camera. I've never been in front of the camera person. I've been very successful because I have been good at going out and finding Kevin Hart when he was finally ready to break out and give him his first movie, right? Wow. His first breakout movie.
Yeah.
Idris Elba. Idris's first movie after The Wire was my movie. Tiffany Haddish, her breakout role in Girls Trip. That is what I have been able to do. So that absolutely, and that's what you need, right? It's just like you mentioned the Atlanta Falcons and the ownership. It's not just about who can run the fastest or jump the highest. It's not just success on the field. There are levels to this, right? That is what you talk about, John. So understand, because there are levels to this. I have been fortunate enough to work hard, build my own personal brand, to the point when Arthur Blank, the majority owner of the Falcons, was looking for people to bring into his inner circle. My name rang out. I made that cut, right? So now I am in sports. Without my jump shot ain't nothing. I'll tell you that right now. I ain't getting up there, especially with these 50-year-old knees. It ain't happening, brother. I'm not racing anybody. But I am now in sports. So there's other opportunities to do it. So I'm not saying you have to just be in front of the camera. the aspects around the folks that are, do you know people who are talented that know how to do it? And you go in and say, I'm going to manage you. I'm going to help you. Before we go to Hollywood, I'm going to help you go from 1,000 subscribers to 10,000 subscribers to 1 million subscribers. Then we'll go and see who's interested in talking to us.
Yeah. And all these folks, think about in every city, they need some place to go and record their content. Maybe there's a little shop people can open and produce podcasts and create the settings for them to come in. And you know, in China, in Asia, this is very big to go into shared spaces to record content. You can, the equipment is very expensive. Somebody could be renting that equipment to influencers and managing platforms. So you're getting people to think outside the box and not just to be seen by the box, as in rocking the mic, being in front of reading the script, maybe write the script, maybe sell the paper that scripts are on.
How about that? Yeah.
Become an owner of yourself. It's interesting that what you said resonates with me. It hit me like a ton of bricks when you were talking about bring value to value. So 2 + 2 = 6, 8, or 10. Bring value to value so they see that you're better together. In banking, the joke is the bank will lend you money when you prove you don't need it.
Yep.
It's a joke, but it's serious.
Yep.
And those who are, you go far enough up the economic stratosphere, you stop signing personal guarantees, and they give you what's called, basically unsecured debt. And I've signed a $100 million deal that I don't have a guarantee on, but when I sign a $60,000 line of credit, I personally guarantee that. So your analogy works in every example, that when you bring value to a situation and that people want to be associated with those who have value they bring to the association, versus somebody coming begging and saying, will you hook me up? You just sound like everybody else.
Correct.
So life is about selling. We just talked about selling without selling. That's the example we just gave. You're presenting yourself, you're not selling yourself. But in your book, Healthy Arrogance, how does the approach you have with this book help people make the sale?
First, by realizing what you just said, that everything is sales. Okay. So when you say who better than you, it's also who better than you to sell yourself.
Okay.
Realize no matter what, from the time you are born to the time you die, you are selling yourself. You're selling yourself. You're selling your brand. You're getting other people to recognize a particular and assign a particular value to you, right? This person is important. I need to go talk to them. I need to answer their calls. I need to pick up, respond to their texts. I need to invest in them. It could be various levels of value, but you're doing that from day one. That's important because especially now, a lot of Gen Z will say, you know what? I haven't found my passion yet. I'm not into this thing. I don't want to work at this particular job. I haven't found the thing that's going to really kind of ignite my spirit, awaken the internal voice in me that says I wake up every day and I go do this. I don't subscribe to the belief that, you find a thing you love and then you never work another day in your life. That's not how things work. In my opinion, what you do is you go out. Number one, if you're doing it, you're putting your name on it. You're busting your ass. You work hard. I don't care. Like I before the movie stuff was happening, I was delivering newspapers for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. I was answering phones on the weekend for Clorox. I was selling newspapers door to door. Like I was working hard. It wasn't something I was passionate about, but my name was on it. So I was building my brand. Every time, if your name is on it, you got to work hard and give it 110%. Period. Have some pride in your name. It's all you have. At the end of the day, that is your personal brand. That is what you have. It's the most valuable thing that you own is your brand, right? So you got to work hard no matter what it is. Don't wait to find the thing that you are passionate about. Work hard today.
And
whatever your name is on it, if your name is on it,
put some respect on this
go 110%. Period. If you don't put respect on it, nobody else is. Nobody else is going to put respect on your name.
He's not talking about your Instagram post, people. He's not talking about TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, Threads. He's not talking about YouTube. He's talking about wherever you show up, whatever you do. Show up and show out.
Correct. I'm talking about going when you got the part-time job at, CVS or Ralph's or Kroger or wherever it is. whatever that's doing, you be the best at it. When I first graduated from college, when I graduated from Florida A&M University, I was student Supreme Court justice. I had made a little student film. I was a big time alpha on campus. I was a DJ, and then I went and I got an opportunity to intern under the Hudlin brothers on a movie they were shooting in
Wow.
Jacksonville, Florida.
Wow.
I immediately went from being big man on campus to being the lowest on the totem pole. Immediately. My job was to unwrangle the cables, make sure the cable cords never got twisted. So I was running around set all day, untangling cable cords. And then I was also getting people coffee and tea and whatever they wanted on set, right? Everybody told me what to do. I was the lowest of the low. But I also busted my ass and I was the hardest working intern on that set because my name was on it. I was building my brand. I didn't want to do that. I don't want to unwrangle cables for the rest of my life. But at the time that was my job to do it, guess what? I was going to be the best damn cable wrangler you ever saw. That's what I did. And that was my mentality. And some people on that set treated me like I was just a young brother that was chasing my dream, trying to come up and do something, and they would encourage me.
Yeah.
Other people on that same movie set would treat me like I was the lowest of the low and in the way, and would yell at me and say mean things and all of that. Almost to a man, John, to a man or a woman, since that time, and I've had the success I've had in this business, almost every person on that set has asked me for a job. Every person. I remember those that treated me with respect. Yep. And I remember those that treated me like I was the lowest of the low. So you just never know. But the point is you're building your brand. So you're putting your name on it. You go hard. There's no excuse, right? So if you work and you continue to stack those bricks, right? One by one, no matter what it is, whether you found your passion or not, you continue to stack your bricks because you're putting your name on it. That is selling. That is building your brand. Everything is selling. I'll never forget, I graduated from college and I told my dad, I had an engineering degree. I forewent going into corporate America because I wanted to chase this film dream. And I had this opportunity to be selling Atlanta Journal-Constitution newspapers door to door. And I said, Dad, I don't want to do sales. Sales sound like people that's flying across the country selling copy machines to people that don't need copy machines. And my dad said, and it stuck with me, he said, son, everything is sales.
That's right.
Everything. He said, world leaders are selling themselves all the time. They're selling their agendas. They're selling to their constituents. They're selling to the governmental bodies. They're always selling. Everything is sales. He said, and you're good at it. You're good at it. So lean into what you're good at. Go out there, and until you're able to make this Hollywood dream come true, do this so that you can feed yourself. And I used to go out there and I knock on people's doors and try not to get shot in the face. And I would offer them an amazing deal on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday version of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution newspaper. That's what it took.
For a book that has the word arrogance in it, there's a lot of humility in this message. Yeah. And it's really quite inspiring, actually. And I think you may be reintroducing for people a new understanding of things that they might have previously thought they understood. Like I will tell people say, oh, capitalism is bad. No, people are bad, right? There's good capitalism and there's bad capitalism, right? And good capitalism is where I benefit and you benefit more, and bad is where I benefit and you pay a price for it. And you're saying there's healthy arrogance and there's toxic arrogance. Or there's healthy self-esteem, healthy self-confidence, which then allows you to become the product. That's what I'm hearing you say.
Yes.
And deliver yourself with confidence to the marketplace. So the marketplace finds value in you.
Yes.
Now, you've been the first in many sectors, which is both good news and bad news, because you had to be pioneering. How has that felt? How did you do it? And how did you manage difficult people, arrogant, truly toxic and arrogant people? How did you manage around that and still succeed? Because that's going to be something that's a lot of Black people are emotional. We get arrogant. We get emotional. We get angry. And whenever you make an emotional decision, it's going to be a bad one. And so how did you got the confidence now, you got the self-esteem, you got all that stuff, but now somebody's just deliver some crap and put it right on your lap, theoretically, and you got to manage around that. How did you step over mess and not in it?
There's nothing wrong with being passionate in business, but you can't let passion rule your business decisions. Okay. And you are right, John. It is a cultural thing. Black folks are passionate people. You know, mama was passionate, daddy was passionate, grandma was passionate. You come in the house, auntie was dancing and yelling and screaming at the TV, and it was just, for no real reason other than just was happy in the moment. You know what I mean? Soul Train was on, whatever it might be. But we grew up, a lot of us, in homes that were very passionate, right? Passionate with a lot of energy. And many of us learn that, and it gets ingrained in us, and it holds us back when it comes to business.
Okay.
At the end of the day, Hollywood is one of the most adversarial, toxic, loud, yelling in your face industries out there.
Hmm.
I have a practice that I call taking the thunder out. When I am in an adversarial situation, oftentimes I'm going against somebody, they're yelling, the other person's yelling, I might be yelling, everybody's yelling, right? Nobody is accomplishing anything. As a producer, my job is not to win arguments and win fights. My job is to keep my eye on the main thing, which is getting the project done.
Mm-hmm.
My secret to that is take the thunder out. So the first thing I do, I tell a story in my book about a movie that I made, and it was called Takers. And Takers was about a heist crew, good-looking guys that all dressed up. It had Idris Elba, Paul Walker, God bless him. T.I. was in it, Matt Dillon, Michael Ealy, Hayden Christensen. Oh, yeah. Great cast.
Yeah.
And the first day on set, this movie almost didn't happen because you look at the movie Takers, all the guys, they got on suits and ties and they wear pocket squares, and everybody is very well dressed because part of our thesis was that even though it was an action movie, a heist movie, we wanted to also get young women, and we had all these good-looking guys, Paul Walker and Idris Elba and Hayden Christensen and Michael Ealy, come on, right? Chris Brown, right? So we wanted these good-looking guys to be dressed to the nines. And Paul Walker showed up the first day on set, God bless him, and Paul Walker's something of a hippie. And he showed up, and he had his hair long, and he had on his ripped jeans, and that's fine, because listen, let me tell you, actors on a movie set, they show up looking all kinds of crazy. Before y'all see them, trust me, before I have my whole team get their hands on them, you would not recognize some of your favorite stars.
Right.
So Paul showed up, dingy jeans, long hair, scruffy. The problem was that Paul wanted that to be his look for the film. He did not want to change. He said, this is my best look. And the head of the studio was there because it was day one. And the head of the studio immediately tore into him. This is not what we talked about. We talked about this, and we had a plan, and you're going to mess it up, and you can't look like that. Get in there. They got to cut your hair. And Paul, who was an easy, soft-spoken guy, he stood his ground. He said, no, I'm not doing that. He said, I'm not doing that. That's not the look. I don't like that. And they were going at it. So here I am, day one of Takers. I got my studio head, one of my major stars. They're arguing right outside the hair and makeup trailer. The rest of the actors are on set with my director, and my director's calling me saying, Will, what do you want me to do? I'm supposed to shoot this scene.
And how big is the budget?
I said,
how much money is on the line?
Takers was about between $25-30 million.
So it's a big deal.
Yeah, especially for me at that time. Yes. Yeah. So moderately priced for Hollywood, but it wasn't, it wasn't cheap by any means. Right around 30, actually, now that I think about it.
You had to succeed. It had to work.
Had to succeed, had to work. And in Hollywood, like a lot of places, time is money. Yeah. So I told the director, I said, hey, shoot the first scene without Paul. I said, don't make it a big deal, right? Because I didn't want to have a full revolt on my set with my other actors, because quite honestly, many of them felt like that. They really weren't that comfortable with the suit and tie look. I had a behind the scenes argument with Idris Elba, but I had handled it behind the scenes. Right. And so Idris had agreed, all right, I'll wear it. I'll wear the suit. I'll be clean shaven. He agreed to do it. But I knew if word got out that Paul was fighting back, everybody was going to fight back. Right? So I said, the director's name was John. I said, John, go shoot the first scene. Don't make it seem like Paul was ever supposed to be in it. Continue as if. By this time, Paul Walker had left the trailer and gone to his own personal trailer because he was about to find the next flight to Hawaii. He was like, I'm out of here. I'm not doing the movie. He was quitting. I walk in the trailer and I knock on the door. I can hear the gruff. Yeah. What do you want? I come in, and the first thing I did was I apologized. I said, Paul, I am so sorry. I said, you are here. This is your first day on a Will Packer set. You are clearly very unhappy. Something has been miscommunicated. You thought one thing, the studio thought something else, and now you are here in an uncomfortable, untenable situation. And I take full responsibility to that because this is my production. I am sorry. I said it and I meant it. I took, because he was ready. He was ready for somebody to come in and tell him how I was wrong and how the emails had been exchanged and all that. I came in and immediately said, I gave him somebody to blame for it. I said, I'm sorry, blame me.
Yeah.
And I meant it, right? You got to be real. Don't be superficial with it, right? But in that moment, it was not about me saying, well, Paul, we told you what it's going to look like. And it wasn't about me saying, well, studio heads, you should have made sure that Paul knew. And it wasn't about that. What was we trying to get done? What were we trying to get done? So I walked in and immediately said, this is on me. I said, if you stay with us in this production, I will work every day to make sure that you do not feel like this again. Because on a Will Packer production, you should be able to concentrate on what you're doing. You should not have to be emotional about anything. And he took there, he breathed a second, and he said, I get it. He said, you're the good cop. He said, but you're a damn good one. He said, I'm going to do it. He said, I'm going to do the movie. Yep. He said, just give me a second. But what I did in that moment was I took the thunder out of the situation. Yeah. And so many times, like you said, John, we're trying to win the battles. We're over here trying to win the battle. Somebody said something about me on social media. Somebody looked at me the wrong way. Somebody did something that was disrespectful. You're trying to win a battle. Let me respond. I know exactly what I'm going to say. I know how I'm going to get my revenge. I'm going to know what my retort is going to be. You're so focused on winning the battle and there's a war going on. Boom. Business is a war. Business is macro. Business is big picture. That's right. We get too caught up in the minutia. Take the thunder out. Once everybody's ready to tell you how you're wrong and they're right. Especially when you got a disagreement. Everybody's got all this stuff. I can't wait till John comes in here. I'm ready. I'm ready for him. I got a whole list of things because John know he messed up and I'm ready to do all this. I'm ready to tell him. And if John walks in and says, you know what? I apologize. Yeah. My part in this, because everybody has a part, is never one way. Yeah. I apologize because my part in this helped to exacerbate this situation. Yeah. I'm wrong. Yeah. And you start off like that. They got this whole list of things they was ready to run down. But wait, what? You said you were wrong. What? But wait a minute. I was ready for you to argue with me because I got retorts. I got stuff to come back with. Nope. Mm-hmm. I apologize. Mm-hmm. I apologize. How can we move forward? Mm-hmm. Take that thunder out. Take it out. Because you keep your eye on the bigger prize. I've learned that has served me well multiple times in Hollywood. And it will serve you right in whatever industry. Because we all fall victim to that moment where we get so hot, so angry, and focused on the battle, and we lose in the war.
So I owe you an apology. I was focused on the wrong part of this book. I was so thrown off, and I thought it was so provocative, focusing about the art of healthy arrogance and dreaming big, that I thought that was really the part that we needed to unpack. And now I understand, no. Who better than you?
Who better than you?
Better than you.
That's right.
That's the subtitle. Who better? Again, this is what we tend to focus on the noise. I was oh my, healthy arrogant. No. Yes. That's the sideshow. Who better than you to lead? Who better than you to be a father? Who better than you to be a mother? Who better than you to be excellent? Who better than you to be God's child? Who better than you to show up and show out in the most positive way? So
that's right.
We're not going to talk about this. But he just, in this example, and you guys need to rewind this, show it, share it with your weekly girls meeting, show it, get your boys in the sidewalk and listen to this life lesson, because what he just described is how I live my life. Talk without being offensive. Listen without being defensive. And always leave even your adversary with their dignity. Because if you don't, they'll spend the rest of their life working to make you miserable. It becomes personal. You got to step over mess and not in it. And that's essentially what he just told you in this story. He had every right to be offended. He has $25 million on the line, $30 million on the line. It's his name on the door. Everybody had an agreement in advance. They read the contract. And it's like being married. You got to decide whether you want to be married or you want to be right.
Yeah.
Those are two different things, right? And so the wisdom and maturity of who better than you is he's giving you a life lesson. He's giving you 30 years in business, 40-something years on this planet. He now owns an island in the Caribbean. He's a part owner in a professional football team. He's got 9 NAACP Image Awards. He's got all this success to his credit, $1 billion in ticket sales. But what he's telling you is it's some really basic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do this, it's a cheat sheet for success.
That's right.
What? That's right. So in addition to, I want them to go buy the book. I do. But what do you want to leave this audience with, Will? They had a chance now to get inside your heart, in your head, in your office, your life, and your experiences for a minute. They've had an hour with you. Yep. What's the one thing as your favorite niece or your favorite nephew or the knucklehead nephew you've been trying to talk to for 20 years who wouldn't listen to you? They leave in your house. They came to visit. They're leaving your house. They're walking away. You won't see them again, or at least for a long time. You want to leave them with a nugget that they can hold on to, that they can hopefully in time become to appreciate. What's that thing or things that you'd like to leave the audience with that's a Will Packer special?
Remember that no one on this planet is more deserving of success than you are. And once you realize that and you own that in your heart and your soul, you will start to act accordingly. There's no one on this planet more deserving of success than you. That's what I would leave them with.
And I agree with that. And as a final thought on a show that's about money and wealth, we didn't talk about your net worth. We didn't talk about income. We didn't talk about what actors get paid. We didn't cover any financial stuff. But I believe we talked about wealth building from end to end.
No question.
So I was about to say, am I wrong about that? Or do you think that, I mean, I don't focus on money. It comes by focusing on purpose, passion, executing, delivering, keeping my word, being that brand, showing up and showing out, being excellent. The money, the investors, that it attracts capital.
Yes.
Is that the way? Do I have that right? Does that work in
Hollywood? You have 100%, because everything we've talked about is wealth building. We get too focused as a community at large. We get too focused on trying to chase money. And I know this is money and wealth, but I want to focus on the wealth part because the money will come. Everything we've talked about, these things that manifest themselves in ways that allow you to become more successful and live a more fulfilled life, that's wealth. I have been blessed beyond my dreams in terms of material success. What I'm very, very happy and proud of, and what sustains me, is the wealth that I have that is inclusive of not just the material success, but also balancing that with my family, my mental health, and my well-being. I'm a happy person. Listen, I get it. It's hard to be happy when you're broke. It's hard to be happy when your stomach is rumbling. I get it. Like I'm not somebody that says, no, don't worry about it. Just be happy. No, don't worry, be happy. I'm not saying that. Right. What I'm saying is when you're going out and you're realizing the value that you have within yourself and you're acting accordingly, number one, place that value on yourself and don't give that power to anybody else. The wealth that you will accumulate, successful people attract successful people.
That's right.
The wealth that you will accumulate will surprise even you, because you will be out there building your brand and you will be presenting to the world. Just like John told you, the banks, right? They give money to people who don't need it. Trust me, I know that is the truth. And that's what it is. I was telling I was telling my kids the other day, because I have some really big retail sponsored brands that send me stuff because they want me to wear it or they want me to put in movies and what have you. And they'll call me. They'll be like, hey, you get any more shoes from so-and-so? Or you got any more hoodies? I said, listen, they sending that to me. Y'all stop trying to leech off of my gifts that I'm getting. But I said, how ironic is it? Because I could buy any one of these things. There are people that can't buy them, but the people that get it for free are those that could. That is the point of it. The way that manifests itself in your life is the fact that you got to understand, continue to work on being successful, and other successful people will come, money will come, and wealth will come. We have absolutely spent this last hour talking about wealth building because we talked about the traits and we talked about the skill set and the mentality that you have to be successful.
That's right.
That is literally what wealth building is.
So if you see Will and I on the street and you walk up to us I got a script. I got to do it. And you're selling a product. You're transactional. You're going to turn us off.
Yeah.
But you come and you present yourself and we feel your authenticity.
There you go.
And you're not selling a product. You're trying to build a relationship and a rapport in 45 seconds. And you impress us. 45 seconds may turn into 4 or 5 minutes. And 4 or 5 minutes might turn into here's my number or here's my email address. Yep. And then follow up and send a note. Don't ask for anything. Yep. Hey, thank you for your time. Even if you, by the way, no one ever does this. You meet me in an airport, whatever. You meet him in an airport. Just send a note. It was really nice to meet you. A handwritten note. Really nice to meet you. Honored, respect what your flow. Appreciate you. You know, your wife, you know, Heather Packer is beautiful. You know, behind every successful man is an exhausted woman. She's beautiful. I recommend. And I would love to have 15 minutes with you at some point just to listen.
Yep.
And then wait 3 months, wait 6 months, and then say, I'm coming to LA. I'd love to have 15 minutes if you have time. There's no way he wouldn't give you 15 minutes. There's no way I wouldn't give you, but you got to handle it the right way. That's building wealth. Making money, getting that cash, getting that dollar is highly overrated. That's what we are obsessing with. So he just gave you a master class in relationship capital. And I'm going to drop the mic. I'm going to say what Will won't say because he's got kids at home who are listening to this. The kids were like, give me those Nike shoes. Give me that. So Shaq was recently said, well, Shaq's kids were like, hey, Dad, why are we working so hard? What? We rich. And Shaq's like, no, we ain't rich. I'm rich.
I'm rich. You ain't.
You better go to work.
You better believe it.
I want you guys to go get this book. I want you to go purchase Who Better Than You? The Art of Healthy Arrogance and Dreaming Big. Take a little bit of Will Packer. Wherever you go, it'll make you better. Thank you, my friend and my brother. I appreciate you. Love and light. This is John Hope Bryant, Money and Wealth with the great Will Packer. Go become your best version of yourself. It pays dividends. I'm out.